Hi, this is Rachel, and I wanted to talk about why intuition, why you can feel insecure with intuition, unsure of yourself, and how it scares other people. So, when it scares other people, because you figured out something or you sensed something that either you can't see or they were trying to hide, they get defensive. And they'll be like, you're crazy. I don't know why you're like that. Why do you think that? You have no proof. And when people are like that, that means you hit something. So it's easy to get discouraged, to trust yourself. And just like anything, intuition can lead you astray if you let your mind misinterpret it the wrong way. How you will know the little voice that you hear is intuition is when you start arguing with yourself. You do a mental argument. Intuition says, please go straight on the highway. Do not take this exit. And you know that doesn't make any sense, and it's going to put you off 6 more miles because the next exit is, 3 miles away and you got to backtrack. So another voice in your mind, which is your thought, is arguing with you. It's going to take longer. It doesn't make sense. I don't want to do it. And this happens within seconds. So when you start noticing yourself, trying to rationalize, being made aware of, hey, you shouldn't do this. Hey, you shouldn't do that. Or this is the way it is. This is the way it seems. So it's very hard to feel secure. And it's very hard not to argue with yourself. So, the only way for it to get better and for you to get more secure is to trust yourself. When you learned how to tie your shoes, you had to learn how to trust yourself. So you trust that you tied it and that you can walk without the lace coming apart and tripping. But the truth is, it still happens. They still trip. So what's wrong with being wrong with your intuition? It's just a lesson. It's like when you find out that something's not right, that's when you find out how to do it right. If you make a court appeal and they give you all these case studies on the appeal list of why. And in that appeal, you can see how to win. And even if you are not going to win, you still see how to win. They're telling you how to win. They're telling you how it doesn't work. So they're telling you how to win. You have to trust yourself. Because when it comes down to it and you're depending on that intuition to get you out of a situation, you're depending on that intuition to save a life, if you're a firefighter or something, you're depending on that situation to keep yourself safe from, like people who want to drain your energy. And if you have really good intuition, just like being you should be empathetic if you're going to have strong intuition. But another way to know this is people are always asking you or telling you about a situation. And why would they do that? Because they trust that you're going to evaluate the situation or have some kind of information that can really help them. And you don't even need to be their friend or talk to them for that to happen even. I've had people come up to me out of the blue in public for a need. I've had people I barely was standing next to who ended up wanting to approach me and have a conversation about something. If you want to sharpen your intuition, you could do other things that teach you other stuff that will give you the skills you need that also work for intuition. You can learn like how to remote view. In remote viewing, it might be a bowl that you're trying to see from across the country. And you might say, oh, well, it's green, it's hollow, it's a semicircle, and it's on a table. You might not know it's a bowl. Somebody else might not know it's a bowl. But you got all that other information. So that, it's kind of elimination when you find out, okay, well, it's green. So everything in the room that's purple is not it. You can do things like stick something under kitchen bowls. And guess which one it's in. You can work on your intuition if you like music. Can you guess what the song is by the first music note? Can you feel it? Can you sense it? Another thing you can do is go to the mall and watch people. Get a sense of how you feel. Learn about proximity between people. Stuff like that. I mean, you can do stuff that has nothing to do with actually training for intuition, but has stuff that will make it stronger. And if you have good intuition, even if somebody says you're crazy, it could be a partner, a friend, a boss. If they say you're crazy, you're getting this stuff out of nowhere, don't listen. It's not true. If you were getting out of nowhere, they probably just giggle or, say, I wish I could get in your head. I wish I could be in there for 5 minutes. Do not trust other people. If a girl has brown hair, and another girl comes up that's blonde and says, you know what, I really think you would look good with red hair. So she dyes her hair red. But let's say she's in a place where, maybe working at a car dealership, and she's a salesperson. And she was making so much money when she had brown hair. But then she turned it red and she noticed that her sales went down. And she also noticed that the blonde was getting more sales. So, I know it sounds silly, but this stuff happens. So anyway, when you have intuition, you're opening the door to unseen information and unseen forces. So there needs to be a line defined between, being civil and not being civil. Just because you have information that there's gang stalking going on with you, there's people that make it sound like their own newborn infant was gang stalking them and must have really been the devil. And sometimes they, take that child's life. So just because you're aware of stuff doesn't mean it's correct. And one way to know that you're not doing the correct thing is when you notice that you're doing something to harm somebody else. And if you use your intuition to hurt somebody else, that is wrong. There are not psychics going around running the street telling everybody what, they think and feel and what's going on with that person. That's not right. Okay, let me explain it like this. A man could, emptied out someone's house. He stole all that stuff. The person who got robbed doesn't want to forgive. The thief, might live a whole life of being a thief. But the one who's going to get punished and judged is not the person who's making error. It's going to be the person who doesn't find forgiveness in their heart. So we need to just be really careful. Intuition is just a bunch of information. A lot of people that have intuition, they know about micro expressions. And even if you could stare at someone and be like, oh my God, I want to see what micro expressions. But actually, when you're exposing yourself to it, eventually these things come second nature. Wow, that person's not too sure. Wow, either that person's really stressing out or they're lying. One or the other. What could they be stressing out about? What about this conversation is they stressing out about? Or could it be a lie that they're hiding something? Body language, like all this stuff helps build intuition. Listening to sounds at a distance. Can you guess how far away it is? And you can practice that with like the sound of thunder. Because in between the thunder, the lightning and the thunder, that there's time in between. Can you guess before that thunder comes? Can you guess when you hear it without the count? Without counting how many seconds is how many miles from the damn storm? Learning how to become empathic will help with your intuition. So, just don't listen to anybody discouraging you. And even if you don't have much intuition, you can learn. You can make it stronger. Or you don't think you have it, because everybody does have it. Okay, so if you're not listening to your intuitive voice, how do you have a relationship with that? How do you know how to decipher or discern, tell the difference between your intuition or something else? These are things that can be learned and practiced. And whenever something is incorrect, so what? As long as you're not doing a major reaction like changing the person's life, doing whatever to make the person's life miserable. So, don't be discouraged. And if it's wrong, so what? Just don't do a major reaction. Try not to. And if it happens, be like, oops, I meant this. And damage control is just stopping. So if you're getting it wrong and you're all worked up, and the other person's like trying to process everything, and you took it too far already and you keep taking it, just stop. Even if you look messed up, just stop talking and walking away. Sometimes conflict resolution is to walk away or just to stop. It's called damage control. So as long as you're not doing that, I think you're okay. And if you get it wrong, so what? Sometimes I still put my shirt on inside out when I'm running out the dang door because I'm trying to change fast. And when somebody points it out or is giggling in public, or someone I know and they're like, your tag's out. Your shirt's inside out. I don't care. I don't. I just wear it inside out until later because I don't care. It's a shirt. I don't care about my mistake like that. It's not that big of a mistake. And it's sure not big enough of a mistake for me to feel something about myself. Don't think that you can't learn something. I can tell you that, because you can. You have what everybody else has. It just may not be as intense. If you imagine a video game, how they have, different stats for statistics for, your strength, your endurance, whatever, they'll have the little bars, and that's what it's like. So you might not have a bar. You might only have like a little bar, and the same thing goes the other way. You want to lose those bars, you want to lose those skills. You tell yourself you don't want to see, you don't want to be open to this. And if you do it long enough, you're not going to have it. You're going to have to go back and rebuild it. Go back and relearn it. Go back and do all the practice. Because this is something you can lose. This is something you can block. And it's important not to put yourself in crazy situations. Sometimes intuition can hit you in a weird way. It's like an acid trip. Like, what? And your mind wants to step in and be like, what? And then your ego wants to step in. So you got like all these things, parts of you having issues, and maybe your heart's even in the middle of that fight. It's just important to be careful where you put yourself, because you can get overwhelmed. It can feel like an acid trip. Intuition can slip into a premonition or vision so fast that it's really dangerous. So don't get discouraged. Keep practicing. You're going to get stronger. If you don't want the gift and you don't want the skills, then go ahead and block it out. Do I suggest blocking it out? No. Because you were blessed with a certain amount of intuition anyway. So just keep doing what you're doing. Practice. If you don't want it, you don't want it. It's just that you're giving up a gift. You're giving up an ability. If you can't handle seeing other beings, if you can't handle, having information on somebody who is not a real friend, or you don't want to have intuition that something's going to happen on the airplane or whatever. So intuition is connecting stuff. So if your intuition are the stars in the sky, a star from around Pluto might actually be connected to a star around the sun. So there is no, whatever's next to it. It's linear. No, we don't know. And that's the beauty of intuition, is that different things are connected that give you this story. Intuition can save you from getting in a fight. If you have intuition that, your coworker or your friend is having a bad day and you're staying next to them, and not only do you notice that they're in a certain mood, they happen to turn their body away from you, they start slouching, and any mistake they're making or any mistake you're making, they make sure to point that out. They're nitpicking. So that would be like, okay, well, maybe I should move over 2 or 3 feet today. Maybe I should talk softer to them. Something like that. But you were able to understand all that and understand whatever feeling you felt from them. So if you feel like, just like taking the wrong exit, or having to take a different exit, if you know with your intuition something's going on and you should stay away from it, just stay away from it. There's nothing wrong with saying, I'm going to take that exit 3 miles from here because my intuition's telling me. What's the worst that could happen? You went 6 miles out of your way because you had to backtrack another 3? What's so wrong with that? You didn't lose a toe. So there's nothing wrong in practicing listening to that and seeing where it takes you. You could end up bumping into somebody you haven't seen in years that was from Oregon State, and you're living in Illinois. You just don't know. You could find money on the ground because of the delay or whatever. You just don't know. So anyway, I would just keep it up and just trust yourself. Listen to that voice. When you notice yourself arguing with yourself and trying to rationalize something, that's when you can be like, you know what? This is usually what happens when I'm having intuition. I'm trying to make sense of it all because it doesn't even make sense to that person sometimes. The person having the information, getting all the information, sometimes it doesn't make sense to them. Like when you're remote viewing, saying something is a semicircle, hollow, and green sitting on a table, another person might not understand what that means. They might be confused. They might not understand that information. It doesn't make it any less real or true. So anyway, I hope everybody is able to get their skills as strong as possible because it makes us better people. Thank you.